In this video, I'm going to answer two of the most common questions we get from our patients regarding the pain in the back of their heels. Now, the first is, why does the pain and sometimes even the swelling vary so much day to day without you actually doing much to deserve it? And then second, why can it be that you're back to all your sport, your tendon doesn't hurt at all during the day, but when you squeeze it, it can still feel so much more tender than the other side? Should you be worried about that? Of course, I'm also going to explain what you can do about all of this to improve it. If you're actually looking for a video for the different reasons why your heel may be hurting, so diagnoses, different things that can cause it, I've made a whole video where I walk you through the different causes or injuries you might have. So have a look at the description of this video. I'll put a link to that one there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maryke. I'm one of the physiotherapists from treatmyachilles.com, where you can get online physiotherapy assessment as well as treatment of any type of Achilles injury, all done via video call. Have a look at the description of this video if you want a link to our website. Scenario 1, you have a diagnosis for your heel pain. You've got a tendinitis, tendinopathy, bursitis, doesn't matter what you've got. And you're undergoing treatment and it's going okay. But some days, that heel can be so much more painful and uncomfortable and sometimes even more swollen than what it is on other days. And you just can't figure out what's going on. I mean, you're not doing anything differently from what you normally do. Now, if this is the case, then it's likely your hypersensitized pain system that is playing a part in all of this. So let me explain. It's quite normal for you to wonder, oh, have I now made my injury worse again when you experience a flare-up? But the truth is, if the activities or things you've done, especially if you can't even think of anything different that you've done, wasn't much more than what you normally do, there's no ways you've made your injury worse because it's actually strong enough to cope with what you do day to day. Then it's the pain system that's been kicking off and that's given you excessive response there. So what do I mean with this? How pain works in our bodies is that we don't have pain receptors in the area that's injured. We do have receptors or sensors that tells the brain about things like stretch and inflammation and chemicals in that area and pressure, a cold, hot, and all of those messages are sent constantly up to the brain. And it's only when it gets above a certain threshold that the brain creates pain, because then it starts to seeing it as something that can be potentially dangerous to your survival or to that area of the body. The problem is that what we know through research now is if you've had pain in an area, that whole system becomes a lot better at actually creating all of those pain signals. So the little nerve endings at the site triggers more quickly, and it sends more messages more loudly and quicker to the brain. And the brain then lowers its threshold and it says, well, we're now a little bit more worried about that area, so we're going to create pain at this threshold rather than there. So now I'm constantly creating pain for you, or I'm flaring it up when it shouldn't really be flaring up. And the significant thing to understand here is that yes, while activities that stretch it or compress the tendon and things can trigger it, it's also things that increases your stress hormones, because this is all linked to your fight or flight reaction, which is all about the stress hormones. So if you're experiencing things like work stress, or you're really angry with somebody, or you're really upset or worried, all of those things will release the same fight or flight hormones that triggers the pain system. And that's another reason why it can actually flare it all up. Now, the other interesting thing is that if you've had pain for more than 3 months, you've got more pain receptors or little nerve endings in that area, and they start to spread. This is also why pain can sometimes move to more areas or suddenly be in areas where it wasn't before. It's not that the injury is actually getting worse, it's the pain system that's getting hypersensitized. And those little nerve endings also releases chemicals that creates an inflammatory reaction and causes swelling and causes even changes in color and things. So that can explain why suddenly your heel today is a lot more swollen and things when you've not really done anything. So the key here is to understand that it's not a black or white thing. You don't have to have either a hypersensitized system or an injury that's flared up. It can be a little bit of everything. But if you've not done much to cause the increase in pain and discomfort or swelling you're seeing, it's likely in this situation, that it is more the hypersensitized pain system that's kicking off. Now, the good news is that all the changes that happens to create this hypersensitized pain system can also be turned around. I think Dr. Caroline said last time that it's something like 3 days, after 3 days, that those extra nerve endings can already start disappearing again. So it is possible to calm the system down. It can just sometimes take a little bit of time. So the first step is to identify what your triggers are. And these can be emotional triggers. It can be work stress. It can be when you get really angry with a partner or children. It can be when you're left on your own and you sit and worry and you think, I'm never going to run again, or I'm never going to get over this. I'm going to lose all my friends because I can't go out with them, or I'm not going to be able to work again. If you can identify what there is emotionally that's triggering it, as well as, is there anything physical that's triggering it? So it may be that it's when I walk more than this amount at the moment that my pain flares up, or if I do a specific exercise in this specific way. If you can identify the trigger, then we can start getting you active within those limits, and we can start working on those things. Now, for that physical part, it's really important that you don't just take yourself into bed and think, oh, I'm just not going to do anything. You have to be active and you have to move, but within these limits that we identify that doesn't flare your pain up. The more active you can be within these limits, the less sensitive the pain system becomes and the more you can do. Then for the psychological bit, sometimes just becoming aware of the thoughts and things that's triggering it is already enough. And you can start thinking about positive things rather than negative things. But other times it can be a little bit tricky. And that's when seeing somebody who's like a pain psychologist, for instance, who specializes in helping people figure out strategies to deal with this and get over it, can be really, really useful. We've got videos about those. I'll link to them in the description of this video as well. And then lastly, I will say is not to make sudden changes. That's one of the biggest and most disheartening things for people often, is if they have actually calmed the pain system down and they're making progress, but now they get carried away. And then they just take a little bit too big step and that triggers it again. So whatever you do, when you start feeling better, just make sure you ease into more and more stuff, that you don't rush into it too much. Scenario 2. Your Achilles isn't painful anymore. You're back to your sport. There's no stiffness. You've started running again. Your physio said you've recovered. But when you press that painful or that injured area, or you squeeze it, it's still more sensitive than the other side. What does it mean? Does it mean it's not healed? What's going on? You can ignore that. In my experience, that is just the system that's still sensitized. Because you've had pain for so many months, it's still very good at creating pain or discomfort when you press on that area. It's kind of like a memory of the injury. In my experience, it goes away over time. It's only if you start developing pain or stiffness at other times of the day, like for instance, first thing in the morning, you get out of bed and you go, oh, I'm hobbling again. Then I will get it looked at, because it means that you're likely busy overloading the tendon in some way. But if it's just squeezing it that's still uncomfortable, you can ignore it. It will go away as you continue to exercise and your body gets used to being fine again. Brilliant. Hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions, ask them in the comments. Remember to hit like and subscribe. And if you need more help with your injury, you're welcome to consult one of the team via video call. The link to the website is in the description of this video. Take care.